Really, it was some data that we had compiled based on a survey of startups that had gone through accelerator programs across Canada to kind of measure their experience of those programs and then expectations going into those programs to get a real sense of what value they have.
Yeah, we created this survey this year because we wanted to know, really more across the board, across all the accelerator programs in Canada, of which there's quite a few now, what people actually think and what they're getting value from, and maybe what they're not getting value from, and we learned a few interesting things. One of which was that, there's some aspects of the program people are very satisfied with. The getting ready to pitch. Most entrepreneurs are not good at pitching, and I think that stood out as something that was a real positive, that they came out of the program much more able to tell their story than they were before. Well, as you know, it's hard to build a startup. Yeah. So, my first answer is they need everything, right? Money, access, time,
a little bit of luck,
coffee, ramen noodles, everything.
Yeah.
But in our survey, I think one thing that stood out is how valuable a network is. A network of mentors, a network of other people. Being an entrepreneur is very lonely. So having somebody that you can, somebody's shoulder you can cry on sometimes, and somebody who can say, "Hey, I've been there, stick it out." That's what I saw.
And I think you're totally right. And one of the key learnings from the data was definitely the timing at which those things happen is incredibly important. Yeah. So if you need access to mentors, if you need access to financing, customers, introductions to business partners, what time that happens is really important, because when you're building a business, you're kind of focused on the thing in front of you. So the right opportunity at the wrong time is actually a very bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's an incredible challenge, and so BetaKit has kind of failed 2 times, and it's been relaunched for a 3rd time. So that's a very startup story. We're a startup that covers startups across Canada. The reason why we did it is because Canada needed it. The traditional media publications nationally were not covering what was happening in Canadian innovation, so someone had to step up. So we did it to fill the gap in the ecosystem. Oh, it's more than a full-time job. It's like 3 full-time jobs. But so it was a post-media publication that was shut down, bought back, relaunched, and now it's been spun out into its own company and is now a national publication covering innovation across Canada. So I think the way that we look at it is innovation isn't one vertical. It's a lot of different types of verticals. So it's financial services innovation, it's IoT, it's wearables and VR and AR. So the way that we approach it is to kind of break it down by the sector of the company producing that innovation, because we feel like people here at StartupFest, they're all working in the same space, but they're usually very interested in one specific thing. So we try to present it along those lines.
I think they're doing a good job. I think that there's many programs, from the the VCAP program to indirectly through organizations like the BDC and Investissement Québec, and there's many organizations that support innovation. I'm of the opinion that I think, listen, like some people, most people always want more money, more support, but I feel like in Canada you can't say that we don't have enough support. There's always ways to improve. I also feel like as entrepreneurs that you can't have too much support. You don't start a company to get a handout. So I think that no matter whether you're starting a company in a recession or there's lots of money and opportunity, that's not going to stop you. So I think that the majority of the heavy lifting is on the shoulders of the entrepreneur. And I feel like often with government, it's as long as government's kind of getting out of the way a little bit, that's more important than what they do is what they don't do. So I think the governments are doing a pretty good job.
Well, so I think we take a look at it from a different perspective, because we're responsible for covering the national initiatives as well as different municipalities and provinces. I think the big development that's happening in Canada, certainly federally, and it's kind of like rolling out province by province, is there's a relationship happening between the political leaders and the tech leaders, and trying to find commonalities, because I think you're right. It's entrepreneurs don't ask for handouts, but they do want impactful support. So the difference between activity and impact, I think, is that conversation is starting to happen, and you're seeing with the national announcements for the $1 billion for superclusters, investment in AI, down to the immigration, bringing talent in, being kind of an open port for entrepreneurs around the world. All of those things kind of help create the ecosystem and support it. So I think that focus on working together and understanding what the needs are on both sides is really important.
It's very unique. You could only have this conference in Montreal. It's look at the old port. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
We're
beautiful.
outside.
The weather is beautiful.
It's totally unique, and I think that's why it attracts so many different kinds of people. And so I love coming here.
It reflects Canada very well by demonstrating Montreal to the world. This is a very Montreal approach to an event, and I think it's why they bring in large international speakers, because they know that there's something happening.
With all the diversity, it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much to be with us this morning. We appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good long weekend at the StartupFest.
Thank you. Thank you so much.